Welcome to Software Testing Lessons Part 3. Before we further discuss software testing, let's take a pause and first understand how a software product is made, what stages are involved, and who is responsible for what. With this, let's go ahead and dig deeper into what is SDLC. SDLC stands for Software Development Lifecycle. It is the process involved in making of a software product. To understand more, let's take an example. Say you want to make a dress for a friend. To make a dress, you will follow certain process. Before you start stitching a dress, you need a plan on what kind of dress you want to make. You decide on the style, color, and fabric you will use. Next, you analyze the dress design. You think about the measurements, the pattern pieces, and how they will fit together. Now you create a detailed plan for stitching the dress. You might draw a sketch of the dress or use a sewing pattern as a guide. Next stage is development. This is where you start stitching the dress. You take the fabric, cut out the pattern pieces, and sew them together following the design plan. Once the dress is stitched, you try it on to make sure that it fits properly and that it looks good. After the dress passes the testing phase, it's ready to be worn. You deliver the dress to the person who will wear it. The last phase is maintenance. Over the time, the dress might need some maintenance. It could get dirty and needs cleaning, or it might need some repairs. So you take care of these issues to ensure that dress remains in a good condition. This, in a nutshell, is the process involved in making of a dress. Now let's go back and correlate these stages in context of software development. First is planning phase. Planning phase is all about understanding what a software should do, who will use it, and what features it should have. Additionally, planning involves discussing the overall scope, prioritization, timeline, and high-level risk assessment. After planning comes requirement analysis phase. This is like investigation and understanding what needs to be done. During this phase, developers gather information and learn more about the software requirements and how it should work. Once the developers know what the software should do, they start designing it. They might create a proof of concept or a prototype and request feedback from the peers. Development is when the actual building of software happens. Developers start writing the code and create the software according to the design. Testing phase is all about ensuring that product works as expected. During this phase, testers try out the software to find any issues or things that don't work as expected. Once the software is tested and everything is working as expected, it's ready to be used by people. So developers release the software and make it available for its users. The last and one of the most important phases of SDLC is maintenance phase. Just like any other product, software also needs care and updates. So in this phase, developers continue to monitor the software, fix any problems that come up, or add improvements based on user feedback. Now that we know how SDLC works, let's go ahead and learn who holds the accountability for each stage in SDLC. Also, let me clarify, there is no right or wrong answer to this, but I will put my recommendation in front of you based on my experience, and then you decide what works the best for your organization. To start with, the first stage in SDLC is planning. I consider this as one of the most important stages because this is where we get the opportunity to learn about the motivation behind the requested feature. We learn about the why we need to build this software product and how is this going to help the customer. Developing a mutual understanding on the value proposition is must for both the product and engineering teams. Product managers are usually the ones who leads the discussion, but it is highly recommended that all the participants, including the quality and the engineering teams, ask questions and provide their early feedback. Next is requirement analysis. Requirement analysis is all about investigation and information gathering. This is a crucial stage where both product and engineering team members play an important role to analyze the use cases to deliver. During the design phase, usually the senior engineering team members play a vital role to design the prototype as per the requirements and then gather the feedback from peers, product managers, and engineering. That includes both testers and the developers. The participation from testers is highly encouraged here to make sure that the proposed design takes into consideration the testability aspect of the software, and this is because if the product is not testable, then we are introducing high risk to the deliverable. Development. Development is usually an engineering effort where developers start writing the code and start giving shape to the software. For testing phase, some people would argue that testing should only be done by testers. But I recommend to make testing a collective accountability stage where not just the testers but developers also test the outputs of their code against the expected behavior. And the product managers also participate to make sure that product is in alignment with what customer asks for. Deployment. In traditional organizations, it's the DevOps team who carry out the deployment activities, but I argue against that approach and recommend that engineering takes the accountability to deploy their code as it's ready. Ideally, deployment can be an automated process that takes place once all the validations are successful. And we'll discuss this topic in detail in a different series evolving around CI/CD and test automation. Maintenance. This is one of the most underrated yet one of the most important stages in SDLC. If the testing stage is successful, that does not guarantee the continual working of the software. Therefore, it's important that engineering team members monitor the application for continued uptime. This is again something that can be turned into an automated activity, which is up for discussion in upcoming series. Now, you must be noticing that in my approach towards accountability, no one individual or a team alone is accountable for any of these SDLC activities. In fact, what I recommend is a highly collaborative effort with participation from different segments of the organization. Even though each stage will still have someone leading the discussion, but the accountability lies with all the participants. The accountability of asking the questions, to provide feedback, and to help stakeholders make the decision. So this is simply what SDLC is all about. It's like a guide that helps a developer through the process of software creation from beginning to the end. I hope this session was helpful and I look forward to see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.